can still hear me, but the LinkedIn page on my left it says past scheduled time, and the go live button is still grayed out. So I don't know if that means it needs to connect. I can see
Hmm.
a little connect thing in
Let
here.
me I can check on my end to see if
Let's
you're
see.
live.
It'll pop.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. All
Wonderful.
right. Good stuff. Well, Dom, the first thing I want to ask you is why did you quit your job?
Why did I quit my job? Are you asking me because of this wonderfully
Of
placed T-shirt
course, I'm
right here?
asking you because of the perfect product placement of your t-shirt.
This is literally the conversation starter to all my meetings, networking, sales, whatever it is. Like that's how we start things. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Why did I quit my job? Well, I just love content. I just love doing anything I can in the space of video. And over the past couple of years, I've just spent a lot of time in short form video, typically for B2B software companies, where I got to a point where I was like, I kind of want to quit my like sales and marketing job and just go all in on this and like create short form content for every company I can. And so I actually made this T-shirt because I was going to a conference the same week that I quit my job, and my profile on LinkedIn was like in the transition period where like I didn't have a job on there or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me start a lot of conversations with folks, and then get some potential prospects and clients on my radar. We connected over LinkedIn. So that was kind of just like a little stunt, $0. Well, not $0, like a $6 stunt that I pulled at a conference event, and it worked out. So that's why I have it there, and I kind of place it there to remind myself, whenever times get tough, why I did it.
Yeah. Listen, I will say like the conversation we're going to talk about today is about making videos and how do you come up with good ideas. But like, I feel like a lot of the best ideas are like very lo-fi stuff. Last week, our CEO Rachel was talking to Heike Young about just like specifically how to like record videos of yourself
Yeah.
that you don't hate, and like a lot of her stuff is very lo-fi in the sense that she's just using a phone. And I remember going to a conference and the webinar tool SQL. I knew somebody who
Mm.
was one of their AEs there, and it was just a little
Oh,
slow on the show floor. So she just took a piece of cardboard, and just wrote like, "Ask me about webinars on your site."
yeah.
And she walked around and got like 15 leads that way. Like I do think, like one of the reasons I want to talk to you today, because
Yeah.
I think people overthink like, how do I get stuff that needs to be perfect? Like how do I
Okay.
everything needs to be flawless, especially if I'm on video. And so
Hmm.
like we're gonna dig into this today. Like how do you actually come up with good
How do you do
video
it?
ideas? Yeah, how do you do it?
Yeah.
So like this is
Yeah.
the first thing I'm gonna ask you is the most broad possible question of like people who say like I don't know what to post. Like
Yeah.
what do you tell them? How do
What do you
you like
post?
start that conversation? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? When you actually asked me to hop on this LinkedIn Live, and you told me the title, I put like a lot of time into thinking of like what is the one sentence that I can say to like answer that question. Like what do people post? What should they
Mhm.
post? And I was like engineering this entire like strategy, trying to like take everything from my brain and put it on paper. And then I realized like all that is just nonsense. Like sure, there's like very specific things to say to people to like, get them to post, and we can talk about their ICP and their go-to-market strategy and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, what I really think people should post is stuff that they just feel proud of at the end of the day. And usually it is some sort of combination between the message they're trying to get across and their personality. And you'll see the most successful creators out there are doing that. Like they're talking about something that they're passionate about, or talking about a message or a narrative that they're trying to push. And at the same time, they're doing something that they just love doing. For example, folks do a lot of walk and talks,
Mhm.
especially people who are like athletic, right? Like they will like get a tripod and like talk to the camera while they're in the gym or while they're on a run or doing something like that. People do it with cooking, right? Like Tim Davidson does it with cutting fruit. It's just like an interesting pattern interrupt, but it's like
Mhm.
their personality, right? Like it's like what they care about. So I guess short answer, do something that you're proud of.
I love that, and I want to like dig into it because I like there's a few people on specifically we're talking about LinkedIn, we're on LinkedIn. Like there's a few people that I will watch everything that, and I'm saying you all because you're in this group. Like anytime you post a video, I'm gonna watch like you and like Adamola and like Chris Saccone. And like
Yeah.
the thing I think about him is
Yeah.
like Chris will just be like pouring a cup of coffee,
Hmm.
not doing anything. And like I actually have
Yeah.
seen this, there's like psychology that's like just be doing something with your hands. Like I'm gonna move over here,
Yeah.
like just like grab a baseball bat or like
Mhm.
pour a cup of coffee. And so, like I said, I do think I will say my biggest weakness when it comes to video is I come from a podcast style background where like I just want to talk into a
Yeah.
microphone. And so for
Yeah.
you, like because you're also very good at producing content, like what comes first for you? Like the like thing you want to say or the like how it's going to be like visualized?
Yeah. That is like a back and forth battle that I always have. Sometimes I come up with a concept and I like want to find a way to like put it into action with some sort of service or some sort of product or like build the concept out for some company I want to pitch. And other times like I have that message already there and I need to make some sort of concept out of it. And then
Mhm,
typically what happens during like the brainstorming process and the revision process, it's like continuously going back and forth. So like I'll build out this script for, let's say, specifically to make a video about some sort of automation tool. And then I go to the actual like concept of it and I'm like, okay, how can we do this in a way that's like interesting, that's new, authentic, all those buzzwords, right? And I come up with a couple concepts and I realize that it doesn't necessarily align with the script. And so then I got to go
mhm,
back to the script and I got to like kind of tinker with the script, tinker with the language, the wording, the pauses and the cues to make it fit whatever we're doing. And then I have to go back to what we're doing and do the same thing. So it's always going back and forth. But I guess the most fun ones are when I have the concept already in mind and I just want to pitch it to a company and I'm like, hey, like, let's
mhm.
just try this weird thing that no one's doing yet.
Yeah. Two things. One, you have the spiciest mic ever. Do you have a phone like somewhere by on your like can you move your I
Is it?
feel it. I can hear it vibrating every time. So,
Hold on, let me see.
a no, you're good. But that's one
We're,
thing I
we're,
was
we're
just
putting it over there.
beautiful. I love it. I was laughing. I was like,
Okay.
man, you're a man in demand. People wanna talk to you. No, but so
It's probably my mom.
talking listen, moms matter too. We love moms. No, but I want to ask you about like you talked about scripting. I'm gonna be bouncing all around between like you as the creator, and also I want to talk about coming up with video ideas when you like when a brand is working with you as a creator. But you mentioned
Yeah.
going back to the scripts and like working things out. I want to ask about like the actual when you have a script and the like producing it as it like basically saying the script to camera. Like our CEO Rachel, she has a like improv background, and so she'll do these videos where it just
Yeah.
feels super natural and punchy. And I'm usually like she probably didn't even have that written down. I like to give myself bullets, but then I feel myself either skipping them or just not fully getting to my points. Like how do you recommend to people, especially if you're working with a brand and they're going to be on camera?
Yeah.
How do you recommend they get comfortable in front of camera? Because I know this is something you like coach people on a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between getting comfortable in front of the camera and then finding the easiest path to producing content. Typically, the easiest path is to align with the personality and the typical style of speaking that the person on camera is going to be doing. And
Mhm,
I was talking to a client today about this actually, and they want to be doing less talking head videos and more like interesting videos, right?
yeah,
But the thing is like they naturally are storytellers. They come from just for context, like they were a newscaster. So like they have that natural enthusiasm and passion and interest in their voice, and they go with the ups and downs and everything. And so their content, like content's really good already, right? Like you don't have to do that. So I would say matching the personality of the person, matching how they speak, matching what they're good at. For another example, like I would not say I'm necessarily the best in terms of articulating and speaking to the camera and using scripts because I get off track a lot and I can't memorize anything. So I always tend to try to like infuse different things where into my content where I can like cut away from me talking to the camera and I can do
mhm,
some sort of voiceover, on that. Or at least bring in something in the view, in the frame of the video where like the focus is not on me talking. I can mess up as much as I want and just like cut those in between, but the focus is on something else, so you don't notice that. So it really just comes down to like what you're already comfortable with and how we can use that in the content. I think that was probably like a broad answer, but like I don't know. Did
no,
that
that's
help
on
answer your question?
that's it does. It's super helpful, and I also think that points to like why more and more brands are working with. like specifically like people like yourself that can partner with them to create the content, or like production like agencies like we do, because in just that 30-second answer you mentioned so many things about like cutting away and like knowing when to show like either product placement or like knowing when to put some action into a video so it's not, all of our attention spans are
Yeah.
so short. And like that's why like my videos, when I produce them myself, it's just me talking to camera and I'm like, I
Yeah.
have I have 3 seconds before people turn away because I don't do a quick cut or anything. But like I'm curious for you, like how do you craft like basically those first 3 seconds so someone
Mm.
doesn't swipe away? Like are you, when you're building on an
Yeah.
idea, are you thinking about that like immediate hook? Or I guess just like take me through
Yeah.
that aspect.
Always. Yeah. I think it's always about the hook.
Mhm.
And it's always about testing what's going to capture people's attention and then retain that attention throughout the entire video. Like that's the main hurdle when it comes to short form content. People's attention spans are so low these days. You are literally fighting for it. So I guess what I do really is I have to craft hooks. I have to craft like I typically craft like 3 to 4 hooks per video. And
Mhm.
then when I'm in the editing process, I will edit like 4 videos and I will show those 4 videos to like a sample size of people. And when I mean sample size, like it's not some sort of like crazy like complex thing. Like I'll probably send it to my buddies and my mom and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And then if my mom like says, oh my god, this video is so good, like I know it's probably bad because like she's just not being honest with me. So things like that. I have been so like of course like we live in the LinkedIn world. We live in the LinkedIn bubble. LinkedIn is not as advanced as other social media platforms are at this point in time, unfortunately. Some of my clients live on Instagram, and Instagram has this great tool called trial reels. And so what we do is we create 3 4 different videos, but the first 2 seconds of each video is completely different. We
Mhm.
test which ones gets the highest viewership in 24 hours, and then we post that.
So you can literally like I was actually, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. Like you can literally
Yeah.
A/B test on
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
not so much
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. You just kind of have to. I mean,
Not
you
so
can
much on
create.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. The thing that's been really helpful for Instagram, for a lot of my LinkedIn clients at least, is that what typically does really well on Instagram has a higher likelihood of doing well on LinkedIn. In quote,
Mhm.
in terms of like you already have to have some sort of audience out there, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have no audience on LinkedIn, you post a video, it's probably going to be pretty bad. You're just not going to get a lot of reach. But if
Yeah.
you already have an audience, test it on TikTok and Instagram. Typically, videos do a lot better there than they do on LinkedIn, and if they do really well there, they may have a higher likelihood of doing well on LinkedIn. My buddy Giulio Segantini does this with his cold call content, and it
Mhm.
performs relatively well. He just picks which one to post on LinkedIn. He's been posting a lot more videos on Instagram.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like Sarah, who we blew up cold, like doing cold call videos, and
Yeah,
like, yes, she got a huge following on LinkedIn, but like her
yeah,
TikToks were the ones that were absolutely blowing up. And I think it's also interesting when you're creating short form stuff like this, is it there, it performs like even just the short form from like TikTok to Instagram to LinkedIn to YouTube, like I'll see like food creators that I really enjoy, and I'll see their videos on different, and they're just like slightly different because they know that the algorithm is a little bit different in different on different platforms, and it's stuff that, again, like to get back to, not to like pitch people to work with Dom or like share your genius, but like that's what those are the things you need to know. And it's tough to know that if you're not doing it every single day, which is what Dom lives and breathes when he's doing this. Is there like a simple hook formula people could apply that are listening to this, like today, like just they could start testing out hooks?
I have a list of 1,000. Let
You're
me
the
get it
best.
for you. I I've gone through this rabbit hole, and it's brutal. Am I echoing by the way? Still, is it
No,
kind of
now
echoey right
you're
now?
now you
Okay,
sound beautiful.
I sound crisp, wonderful, amazing. But yeah, so I went through a deep rabbit hole a couple months back, and so some of these hooks that I have in here are probably a little out of date. Because like honestly, hooks you should be updating these on like a monthly basis.
Mhm.
But it's typically comparison or controversy that does really well. And let me see if where I put this thing.
Say more about
Oh
that
yeah,
while you're looking. Like,
yeah.
talk about that
I,
while
I
you're
just
while you're
found it.
looking.
Yeah. So some of the best hooks that I have noticed work really well, and also have worked in my content, are you're comparing 2 different things, right? So like one that I wrote down here was, um, if you are an X and you can like, put in a title, put in somebody's situation, if you are an X or you are in X and you're
Hmm.
experiencing Y, this is how you can achieve Z, right? And so you're just like you're first like having the audience understand who it's for, and that way it's targeted. Then you're giving them an outcome that they want to achieve. And then you're going to give them like a very brief trailer of like how to achieve it before that initial 3 to 5 seconds stop. And then you get into the actual meat of it. And so that one typically does very well. Inserting like pain points early as well work too. So like another one I wrote down here was if I woke up, insert pain point tomorrow, and I wanted to create dream scenario by this time frame, here's exactly what I would do. And that's just like a easy template that you can just like rinse and repeat a bunch of times.
Hmm.
Another one that I've tested that's done well is the levels. The rule of three, the levels. People have different names for it, but basically, like here are 3 levels of X, right?
Hmm.
I think I made one once that was like here are the 3 levels of content or short form content, and then like level one is whatever the base, level two is medium, level three is the highest, of course. But that just like gets people's attention because it's like, okay, I know something is going to come later into the video. I want that payoff.
Hmm.
And then you give them these little incremental, like bite-sized pieces that
Yeah.
build up that climax. And then finally it's like, okay, that was the payoff. Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to now follow you because I enjoy your education.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like to age myself, it's like BuzzFeed articles that are like the 13
Yeah.
biggest moments from season one of Stranger Things, and you're like, I watched it, but
Yeah.
I still want to know what you guys think is number one. Yeah.
E- Exactly. Exactly. Did you take the
You
BuzzFeed quizzes when you were younger?
yes, when I was
Yeah.
younger, and definitely not professionally already working, for sure. When I was younger, I absolutely did. Yeah, I wanted to know what they thought, like what Pokemon I was and what Harry Potter
Yeah.
house I was in. I'm
I
like,
did
of
all of
course.
those.
Oh, yeah, and then of course I'm like, I'm not a Scottish Terrier. What are you talking about? Or whatever
Yeah.
what dog breed are you?
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned like updating hooks
Yeah.
monthly and like
Yeah.
with a lot of frequency. For you, building out those templates of hooks that you want to create, like I guess this is going to be a dumb question, but like how? Like where are you finding
Yeah.
temps? Is it just
Yeah.
from ingesting so much content and like to say that having a how do you constantly think like, okay, I need to tweak this
Yeah.
and here's how I do
It's
it?
just it's doom scrolling. It's like the worst part of living in the world of short form content is like you ingest so much different pieces of content, your brain just starts to melt and then you get
Uh-huh.
depressed and you're like, what am I doing with my life? And then you go down some rabbit hole of like politics and things and you just don't want to be there. And that has happened to me 4 times this week already. So that's the reality is like I ingest so much short form content to the point where it's like it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's not addictive in the sense of like I enjoy the dopamine and I enjoy scrolling, but it's addictive in the sense that like there's so much I don't know and I want to learn more. And every time I see a really good video, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, I save that video. I write it
Hmm.
down and then I break it down into pieces. And I just like on a notepad, I'm breaking down the first 3 seconds. I'm breaking down the transitions, the shots. I'm just I'm a nerd, when it
Yeah.
comes to that stuff. And then I rely on like other people who are bigger nerds than me, right? Like there's bigger people in the space who have a lot more experience and they do in-depth breakdowns, and I get a lot of my information from them as well. And that's like really helpful too, like piggybacking off of them.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like there's a whole industry of like content about content.
Yeah.
Like, a less exciting version is everybody posting whether or not AI, how they can tell that you're doing something with
Yeah.
AI on LinkedIn. Like that's a whole cottage industry now, and like
Yeah,
people
exactly.
breaking down videos is another one. Yeah. Something I want to ask you about because obviously you work with a bunch of brands and like from a brand standpoint, working with a video production agency, a thought, a content
Yeah.
agency of any kind, like it's a big investment and it's an opportunity to create trust in the market and people know your face. They
Hmm.
trust you. And when a brand comes to you, like I want to talk about the best experiences you've had because
Yeah.
it can be really hard as a person who has long owned brand voices to go to someone
Yeah.
else and then just completely trust like, all right, Dom, uh here's a bunch of money and also just do whatever you're going to do. Like how,
Yeah.
for anybody who is watching this from a brand standpoint, like what's the best, like what, I guess, what's the biggest mistakes brands make when trying to like manage creator content? I want to hear about the, like, let's talk about the bad first and then the good examples of this.
Yeah. Man, where do I start?
What a depressing sigh that was.
Well, it's just because I've dealt with a good amount of brands at this point where there were ones that were clearly very easy to work with and their
Mhm,
content ended up performing well because of it. And there were, a couple ones that weren't so easy to work with.
mhm,
And the content, of course, didn't perform as well as I wanted it to. There's definitely some sort of cocktail of like the best possible brand to work with, best possible client, in my eyes. And it would typically be somebody who like is already a little established in their niche. They
mhm,
have the ability to risk, which either means like they have money to throw at content, or they have bandwidth to do it, right? Whatever that looks like. That's why I enjoy working with more like Series B and Series C companies,
mhm,
because like they already have some sort of benchmarks. They've tried it, and they want to just put more fuel in the fire. Also, it helps to like not be so serious about how people perceive you.
yeah,
A lot about short form content, at least, is testing and reiterating and trying different formats and seeing what sticks, what performs, and what you can be known for at the end of the day. And unfortunately, some brands don't want to do that. Like they're so narrow sighted and they believe that they are this way. This is how they want to be perceived, and that's the way they will always be, and that just hinders them from exploring different avenues and seeing how they can kind of change their narrative and change how they're perceived in the market. And that one kind of just sucks because like you have a great idea for a brand and like you pitch it and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do that, we want to do this instead.
yeah.
It's like, all right.
Along those lines, like one of my favorite current series of videos is, and you shot one of them, so this giving you your flowers, but like this, like I think Slate is doing really cool stuff with
Great.
how they're presenting their videos,
Great.
and it's like a combination of like, the people that they're working with and also like the people who are
Yeah.
heading up. It's like everyone has like good minds, and obviously there's some trust. I know that, like, I think you all know each other a little bit, if not more than that. But like with that in mind, like that example where they are getting their message across so clearly in what they do and how it works in a fun and engaging way. Like in my mind, they probably just gave you guys narrative like guardrails and then said, just stay within this. But like for that example, and you don't have to like go into specifics about how you guys shot
Yeah.
that, but like, is that like a best case scenario? Like a brand basically saying like, this is the narrative or like the message we want to get across, but do it your way. Like what is that like on your end?
Yeah, I mean, that experience was just super casual. My friend Adamola works closely with their team, and then he was like, "Hey, can you help me like film this video, right?"
Mhm,
And I was like, "Yeah, send me the script. Like, what does it look like? What are we working with?" And the thing is, like, they're very open to everything, and I was even like, I was going back and forth with Adamola on the premise and all the revisions and everything like that up until we decided to film it. And it was just like they were just like super easy. And then I got to this place and we recorded it and we just had fun with it. Like it was super casual. It was me in his apartment just recording it. It could have easily taken us like 30 minutes. It didn't take us 30 minutes. It took us like an hour just because we were laughing and having fun. And then some of
mhm,
those scenes that you've seen that in that video, like we're not supposed to really be there initially, but like we were just having fun, and like we got a couple of those shots. And so
mhm.
they ended up wanting to use them, which is great. Especially when you're doing some sort of like brand partnership, which is pretty much what that one was. You're leveraging another person's audience, and so you should, should put the goal to be aligned with that creator and how their audience likes to view them and ingest their content. And so I think they did a really good job with that one.
Yeah. How do you, like, if a brand is working with like 5 to 10 creators, both like internal and external, how
Yeah,
can they avoid everyone sounding like the exact
the
same? Because
same.
I've seen a lot of those, like, it's clear that insert company here reached out to 50 different creators, sent them a box, and then gave them very specific and like every video is the same. And my friends have been people who have done them, and I'm like, you guys got a script. Like, how do you keep it so that everyone doesn't sound like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was part of one of those very recently, which I was actually very happy how it came out because they didn't give me any guidelines or anything. They didn't even give me talking points. They were just like, we're gonna send you a box, make a video about it, however you'd like. And I got to make a video, you know, in my typical like unhinged satire way, and it was fun. But I think when brands just put too many guardrails and try to like put their words into the creator's mouth, that's when things start to get bad. Now there are ways you can protect and try to like not have that happen, and it typically involves the creator stepping up and saying, hey, listen, no, like this is my audience and this is how they like to, this is the content that they like. I'm not going to be pushing this specific language just because like that's part of the campaign. Typically they have managers, you know, or agents who also help them negotiate these types of things as well if they're bigger creators. But it also just comes down to the brands themselves being open with the idea that like they are renting an audience for a day or for a month or however long that engagement is. They need to understand that they are not the expert in speaking to that creator's audience. That creator is the expert because it's their audience, right? It's like me going to like daycare and being like, yeah, these are my kids here, like teach them everything, right? And then like put your words in their mouth, and then they come home and they start saying like weird stuff to me, and I'm like, who told you that? Like that's not what I want you to know, right? Not to get into like any political territory, but like that's the equivalent of how I see it.
Yeah. I got one more question for you, then I got some lightning round stuff. We're almost out of time here. How do you, obviously good quality videos are going to be like always going to be better than like 100 terrible ones, but how do you repurpose, like if you have one good idea, how do you repurpose that idea into multiple short videos? Like how comfortable are you repeating a hook or a pitch or anything like that?
You should absolutely repeat it all the time. Every single month, you should rinse and repeat it. Yeah, just for context, not to like plug my own thing in here, but like the way I typically operate with clients is like we build out this topic bank, and topic bank has like anywhere between 15 to 20 topics, but those are not strict video ideas. Those are topics that you will always come back and reintroduce, whether you want to use that topic for a funny top of funnel skit, or you want to use that topic for like a middle of funnel educational video or a bottom of funnel ad. You can always go back and forth. And it doesn't even need to be video. It could be text too. Like I've done this with myself. I've done this with clients. I've seen you do this as well with your content, Adam. And like when you used to work at Orem as well, like all the really good content, you can just rinse and repeat it in different formats: text, short form video, long form video, landing page, newsletter, podcast. Like the topics are interchangeable if they're good topics.
Yeah, gotta be where people are. Okay, we got like 90 seconds left. Let's do some lightning round. Okay, best place to find video ideas.
Best place to find video ideas. What kind of video ideas?
Where are you finding the best video ideas? It could be anywhere.
Okay. I'm just gonna say Instagram and YouTube Shorts for what I'm looking for. Okay.
Yeah. One hook mistake people make.
Here's how this is how you, like, people don't want that anymore. You need to intrigue them somehow.
Yeah. I would also add in the like Heike talked about this last week, like introducing yourself at the beginning of it. Spending like 10 seconds being like, I'm Adam Sokol, I'm the VP of marketing. Just shut up. Just
no one cares. No one cares.
Yeah. Script or bullet points?
I like bullet points.
Okay. Quantity or quality?
Depends what platform. Ideally quality.
Yeah. Overthinking or under planning? And I'm asking you this as a person I know overthinks, because we've had lots of private conversations where you have.
Yeah, I overthink everything, and I wish I didn't. And I think some really successful content is created by people who just throw stuff up there and let the ether take it. And I wish I was like that.
Yep. I'm also an overthinker who wishes I could underplan. All right, two more. Best length for a LinkedIn short form video?
Again, depends on what it is, but like 45 to like 65 seconds.
Okay. And then the last one, what's one myth about video ideas that you think people have out there?
You need to look good on camera. You don't. Just be yourself.
I love it. Beautiful. All right, Dom. Thank you for doing this. We're gonna
This
keep
was so
chatting
fun.
privately here, but I appreciate you doing this with me,
Yeah,
man.
I love it. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Yep. Hold tight here.